everyone, today we've got an art task ready for you that's all about drawing still life. So what does this mean? Still life drawing and painting is a tradition in art that basically means drawing something that you see in front of you. Most artists do this with fruit, bowls or bottles, and often they do it even with people. It's the opposite to say drawing something from your imagination, but it doesn't mean that you can't still be really creative and bring your personal tastes into your art. European painters have been drawing still lifes for centuries. Some of them look a little bit like this one by Van Eyck, or this one by Caravaggio. These are called oil paintings. They basically look kind of like a photograph. Others might look a little bit more abstract and flat, say like this still life by Cézanne, or these bottles by the Italian artist called Morandi. Or they might look a little bit like the painting that's just behind me. These are called abstract paintings, and they are still oil paintings, but they're flatter and they're more focused on the color. We're going to be working on sketching and painting apples today, in the abstract tradition. This means the focus isn't going to be on making it look exactly like real life or a photograph, but more about how much the pairing of the bright colors pop to make your painting stand right out. So, without further ado, get your pencils and paintbrushes ready, and off we go, let's get creative. So here's an example of one that I made earlier. We're going to be focusing on making our one more like the one at the bottom. Now this picture shows pomegranates, but ours is going to be about apples. So I've got my two apples here and my charcoal pen. I did one video on this before, and it didn't go well because you couldn't see the paper. So if this sketch looks slightly different to then what I paint in the rest of the video, it's because I had to retake this part and show you how to do it again because the old video hadn't worked. So, but that's fine, it's okay. The practice is the same. Right, let's start off. I'm going to look at this apple first from this direction. So I noticed that the little stem is sticking out. I'm going to place that here. And there's a bit of darkness around the center. And then the circle comes all the way around and back up to the top. Don't worry about it being perfectly round. The apple isn't perfectly round. It's more about the effect that it has now. Okay, then I'm going to do a different angle, so I'm going to turn my apple this way around. This is going to be the base, I'm just going to squiggle something in to represent the base of the apple. And then I'm going to come around and draw the circular shape that is the rest of it. Okay, then I might take this apple and put it in front. No, do you know what? I will put it on this side, like that. And I'll draw this one next to it. So, I notice that the little stem is coming out of there, and that here they are touching. You see it from a slightly different angle to me. Okay, so I'm going to draw the apple just lightly touching the other one, coming up all the way around and back. Then its base is there, and its little stem is just coming out there. Okay, now I'm going to do one more. What angle can I choose? Do you know what? I might place this one again like that. And put that one just behind, so that we can layer them up. So it's sitting just behind the apple. it's got its stem coming out like that. I'm just following, you know, the outline of the shape of the apple. It doesn't have to be too perfect. After all, we did say this was going to be an abstract representation. It's going to be really pretty, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Right, so there we go. I've gone round. My apples. So far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I'll add a 5th one in. Okay, and this is what I ended up with in the end. This is our first step, sketching the apples in different positions. You can see there, that's the one that I drew facing it, kind of like it is sitting now. So that is the first step. Right, off we go on to the next one. Okay, here we go. We're back for the second part of our still life ink painting. And I've got my colours out. I've got my paintbrushes out. I've got my apple, bless you.
Thank you.
I've got some water. And I've got my colours. Orange, scarlet red. I got nut brown in case I need it for the stem. Canary yellow. And emerald green. Now we're gonna do some mixing of these colours. Don't worry if you don't have inks at home, you can do it with paints or anything else. Just experiment, use whatever you've got. So don't worry about not having things. I'm gonna start off with a medium-sized paintbrush. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I've also got this kitchen roll to wipe my brush on. Just going to keep it down there, and I've got this scrap piece of paper as a palette. You can see I've used it as a palette before. So that's going to sit down there, and I'm going to use it to mix my colours. Now firstly I'm going to take a good look at my apple, and you can see that it's primarily red with a little bit of green around the back. Right, let's start and see what my red looks like. So I might dip it in and paint it here. I think that's a bit too pink, so I might come in with the brown and see if I can mix them. Yeah, that makes more of like a deep red colour. Just play around until you feel you've got the right shade. I think that kind of works. And then you just start to apply it. Let's try another. I might go straight here. And see if I can mix on the sheet. The thing with ink is it dries really, really quick. So you kind of want to get your blending done before it dries. Nice, that's cool. Okay, we're now onto the second last bit of our art piece, and I've chosen to do my background in a blue, like a kind of Prussian blue ink. So I'm going to get that open and off I go. I've obviously tried to wait for my apples to dry, which I think they have. And now I'm going to start with the blue for the background. Now this is really good to do in just big strokes. Big strokes. Big strokes, but you want to be careful. See, I've kind of gone slightly off there. You want to be careful perhaps to use, if you have the option, a smaller brush to go around the edges so that you don't risk painting over the color of the apples. So I find that quite useful to go around the edge in a thin brush. Like that. And then you can fill in the gaps with a bigger brush. It also helps you go around the stem of the apples all that more delicately. But you'll find your own techniques. Trust yourselves as artists and you'll find your own techniques. So this last step is optional and really depends on whether or not you want to add it to your picture. Because I think it's beautiful already like this. But my style is to add a black line around the edge of my apples. I think what it does is it makes the fruit pop out from the background even more, and I really like that effect. But it might not suit everyone, so only do it if you think it's what you want. And that's it. I'll show you my finished piece. I hope you enjoyed our painting session. I know I really did, and I'm very proud of the still life that I made out of it. Don't forget to send me your pictures. I'd love to see how yours turned out. See you again next time. Bye!